I was skipping through the videos the other day, and I was showing my mate the one when I got dressed up as Fuad, and how I was saying, before Patrick come along, I just used to hold the bar like this, and then Patrick told me, Fuad, you got to bring the bar down and push it up. I'm like, who knew? Who knew you had to do that?
Boston, Luke asks, have you heard of using injectable L-carnitine to help one tolerate higher doses of testosterone? Vigorous Steve mentioned this recently.
A lot of coaches do that, man. They're like, "Oh, I don't use L-carnitine for fat loss. I use it to regulate the androgen receptors and all this." I don't believe in all that, man. Like, I really don't believe it. I don't think L-carnitine is going to do much for somebody who's on T3, Clen, ephedra. I don't think
as a fat loss thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it does nothing. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's minor, very minor, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I get it sent to me free, and I'll use it every once in a while, just to shoot shit since I'm in kidney failure, and I know it's safe, but I don't feel anything.
Who told you?
I remember when I was sponsored by Twin Lab, I used to use their liquid L-carnitine. It would come in that huge bottle. And it was so shit. Yeah, it's like sweet or something. It's just like, it's just like this weed.
So terrible. I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
but Lee, when Twin Lab used to carry GHB, did you ever try it?
No, I never tried that. Only because when I used to go to Max Muscle, the guys I knew that tried it, they'd try it and they'd say, "You want some, Lee?" But when they'll take it, all I see would be this. I'm thinking,
it's horrible.
I'm thinking anything that tastes that shitty, I'm not going to take it. I remember Titus used to like it. I think that Max Muscle used to sell one. It looked like this bright blue Powerade in a bottle. And yeah, he'd take that one. But yeah, I'm not sure if I told you the story, but at the time I was in the store with my friend Scott at Max Muscle, and this girl come in and she was talking about she wanted to try it. And he's like, "Well, it's very strong." And she goes, "Give me some." So he poured it in the cap and she had it. She's like, "I don't feel anything." She ended up taking 3 capfuls of this. I think it had a different name then. It was called something else. It was like a green and a blue one. So she goes, "Oh, I'm starting to feel it now." So she sits in the chair beside me, and I'm talking to Scott. And next thing, she just starts chirping like a bird. I hear this chirp, 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 chirp. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over, and she's off her fucking head, just chirping like a bird. And all of a sudden, the head just goes forward. I'm like, "Oh shit, is she dead?" And then she pops up, and then these tourists come in. They're like, "Are you Lee Priest?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she slumps over now, and I'm like, "Yeah." And I've grabbed her now, and I'm holding her like Weekend at Bernie's, and I'm shaking their hand, and I'm like, "What's that noise?" And I look around. She's pissing herself in the chair. It's going under the carpet. And I'm like, "Holy fuck now." And I'm trying to talk to these and pay no attention to this. And Scott finally gets her into the little toilet room at Max Muscle there. And I took photos and they left her like knocking on the toilet door. She's like, "Is she fucking dead or what?" It's like, Scott's like, "I know where she lives. We'll drive her home." So we had to drive her home.
Leo, that's what I heard about the oral. When you take it orally, like you feel nothing. And then all of a sudden, like 30 minutes later, you get fucking hit.
This is beginner mistakes.
She was a mess. I remember it was at one of the Arnold Classic or Olympia. Bill Phillips back in the day. They must have been taking that, and I'm not sure if it was. I don't want to say names, but I think someone around it was April Moore. It could have been one of those. It was one of the high fitness girls that was always in the magazines. She took some of that, and she was throwing up and vomiting off her head. And Bill Phillips from EAS, he was on the dance floor thing, fucking pissing himself, and people having to hold him up. I'm thinking, wow, what a great fitness industry it is. I
heard of bad stories. I heard if you take too much, you're fucked.
Basically, that's the case.
They were. I think they had to carry Bill out, peeing himself through his pants.
Leo, now I'm scared to take it orally. I should just IV it now.
That's not the right solution.
No, take it orally, but set your camera up because you might get some funny footage.
No, all you have to do is just take a small amount in the beginning, very small, almost so you don't feel it. We wait half an hour, then you take the same amount again. Then you wait again half an hour, and then the third time you take it, if you're going to take it again, that should be your final time. So you actually dose your dose out, so you take it 3 times. So you feel it slowly, so you never overdo it. That's the correct.
It'd be like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street with the Quaaludes where they just keep taking them because they're out of date, then it hits them, and they're like,
Exactly.
Yeah, Lee, I don't know if you heard my last podcast, but I shot at IV. and the GHB, and I literally got high and I was like wobbly. I was trying to make my eggs, and I was like, I just need to go to bed because I was like dancing in my kitchen. I was so wobbly.
Well, that sounds better. Like I said, the ones I've seen take it orally to take too much, they never end up in a good way. They either end up passed out, peeing themselves, or chirping like birds. So give it a go. See what happens.
Yeah,
honestly, Lee, it's like, in my opinion, of all the hedonistic recreational drugs, which I don't approve of generally, I don't think that I've gotten, in my lifetime, I think that recreational drugs have taken more from me than they have given me. Like in the way that Winston Churchill used to say, you know, Winston Churchill used to drink from the morning till the evening.
Yeah.
Drink like a Coke and some kind of alcohol from the morning to the evening. But he used to say that he took more from alcohol than alcohol took from him. It's not the same from me. So I don't really support for myself recreational drug use. But of all the recreational drugs I use, the most innocuous were marijuana, followed by, I think, probably GHB. And GHB was also...
But I think, like you said, I think if you take the GHB properly, and like I said, just the small amounts. I think here in Australia they had one called Fanta. It's similar to GHB, where it had to be like you had to take so much per pound body weight, but yet people were like, well, I'll take double that, and they're going out to nightclubs and boop, hitting the dance floor and passing out. So yeah, I think a lot of it like that is if you use it properly, because I know like in the beginning Craig Titus would use it just a tiny bit and it'd be okay to sleep, but then they're probably like, oh, if I take a bit more, this is like a bit of a party drug. If I take a bit more,
that's
like,
not a good sign, though. I'm not very happy that Craig liked it. Now that Craig likes it, I might revise my opinion a little bit. But I wanted to mention briefly, so he also asked about raloxifene. I just wanted to say raloxifene, Luke, is the SERM, which meaning like it like in comparison to Nolvadex or tamoxifen, it is the one with the least side effects, and it is the preferred SERM currently in medicine for breast cancer treatment, not tamoxifen. Well, sometimes tamoxifen is used also, but raloxifene has overall, if you look at meta-analyses, the least side effects, and so is preferred. Actually, maybe in bodybuilding, raloxifene should be used more. Boston, have you used raloxifene before?
I never have, but what do you think about torfine citrate?
I haven't used it or read much about it.
Okay. I heard that was really strong.
The only thing I ever used was Nolvadex. I used to use Nolvadex all the time in Australia, but then when I went to America, maybe a few years in, people were then using a Arimidex. So I tried that, but I didn't really notice any difference from the Arimidex to the Nolvadex. So I just stuck with Nolvadex. It was cheaper.
Did you guys used to use it all year? Sorry, Boston. Yeah.
No, I only ever used it when I was on the cycles and get ready for contests. And then what was that other one that used to hurt your joints? I tried it once. I think Hani might have told me about it. Was it
Provire, and Hani's big on it.
No, was it Cytodrin?
Oh, Cytodrin, anti-cortisol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, if you take it too long, like your fucking joints would start hurting, and it was bloody. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, that was meant to get you harder.
Did you ever last a long time with Hani or no?
I didn't last at all because when he wanted to help me get ready for the 2000 Night of Champions, I was living with Mike Yablon. You know Mike Yablon? I used to call him Five Jacket Mike, because back then at Golds he'd wear 5 jackets to look big, but now on Instagram he's never got his shirt on, so I always laugh. You're the same guy. You're the same guy that lived with me. Yeah, he was living with me, and Hani come over. I think this was before he was the pro creator, because back then Hani would be like, what do you do, Lee, for cardio? I'd say, 2 hours. Is that how much? Is this that? The next thing, he's training Jay Cutler. I got Jay doing 2 hours of cardio. I think everything he gave Jay was pretty much what I was doing. But then he asked, let me see your training, Lee, and I showed him. And then my diet, he goes, well, it's pretty good. He goes, no, I think you should do this. And he gave me a list of about 8 or 9 different drugs. And whenever I got ready for a show, I wouldn't take more than 3 or 4 tops. And then I might only use those 3 or 4 for like 6 weeks and then swap to something else. But he had like 8 or 9. I said to Mike, I ain't fucking taking this much. So I just took what I normally took, and he'd come by every couple of weeks. How you looking? He'd be like, oh yeah, they're really working. I can see that one's kicking in. I said to Mike, I'm not even fucking taking that drug, so I don't know what I can see kicking in. Yeah, but and then I did it.
Did you let him do your nutrition or not really?
No, nothing. He didn't help me do anything. Once I saw the amount of drugs he wanted me to take, I just went, fuck this. And he got mad at me once because I did an MD article, and I said, hey, how did Hani help you? I said, well, he didn't really. He said my diet was good and my training was good. The only thing he wanted to give me was a lot of drugs. He calls me up. You can't go saying that. I said, what's the fucking truth? All you did was, if I was taking 3 or 4 drugs, now you give me a list of 8 or 9. I said, that's the only difference you fucking did. You didn't change my diet or training.
Yeah, his major is biochemistry. He graduated, but he's a big drug guy. He trained a kid I know named Seth Sandler. He was a T national champion. This guy was phenomenal. He could have been a great pro. And he had him at 19. He had him on a boatload of shit too. But
Yeah.
Hawnie came at me a few times too because I put that information out there. He gets really butthurt when people talk about him.
Yeah, well, it's like if you're gonna do it, at least tell the truth, honey, and tell him this is okay to be this champion. This is the cycle I've got him on. Don't go, oh, he only takes a little bit. It's like people like Phil, all the ones that Honey trained, Ronnie or Jay or Phil Heath. I've always said my grandmother could give them a diet and fucking training program because they've got so good genetics. Yeah. They would grow no matter what they did. But half these other guys, like you said, I haven't heard that guy, Seth, mate, but I'm sure there's a ton that Harney's probably helped to have either got health problems or have never made it. They haven't become pros from the pro creator. And that's not picking on Harney. That's like there's a lot of gurus out there like that that have so many clients and give them all these drugs and shit, but you never hear about it. They say, oh, no, he just trains hard and stuff like that.
Well, but, like, really? But Patrick is different.
No, Patrick is
Patrick has me eating all day these days. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm a little bloated these days.
No one knew how to train before Patrick come along. That's why
Patrick changed my life.
I was skipping through the videos the other day, and I was showing my mate the one when I got dressed up as Fuad and how I was saying, before Patrick come along, I just used to hold the bar like this, and then Patrick told me, Fuad, you got to bring the bar down and push it up. I'm like, who knew you had to do that? But the thing is, they talk like Patrick's just, I don't know Patrick personally, he's probably a nice guy, but the way they talk about like, oh, Patrick's getting me to do this for my outer sweep on my quad, or I need a bit more here. I'm like, well, why can't you look in the mirror and see that? You're a professional bodybuilder. And that's why I even said, look, I like Ian on the show. Ian's a great guy. Ian got Chris ready for the Olympia. That was the best Chris ever looked. So I'm thinking, how can you get Chris Bumstead in such great shape to win the Olympia, but you yourself go to Patrick? I was like, why can't you get yourself in shape?
No. I wonder about it, Lee. I wonder if it's not a business arrangement, because the amount that they mentioned Patrick, I genuinely started to wonder, it may be something else, because it's odd that so many of them are coached by Patrick. Think about it. Ian, the British guy,
Ben
and the other British guy. Yeah, both of the British guys. So all three are coached by... Everybody that has a coach is coached by Patrick, almost, except for Nick, I guess. Yeah, right? So basically, I wonder if that's just it. That's why we hear a lot about Patrick. It's not that they're all... Because Ian's too smart. I don't.
That's what I mean, because Ian got Chris in such great shape.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can get your brother-in-law in shape to win the Classic Olympia, why can't you get yourself in shape? It's like, if you've got someone at the gym you can train with, a good training partner to push it, that's good. You got someone that's honest with you on how you're looking and stuff, and you can see yourself. It's like, I remember Paul Dillett, I told the story many times when he used to go to Chad. Paul was living with me and he had his diet on the fridge there from Chad and that. I'd look at it and go, oh, that's very basic. I said to Paul, why do you need Chad? You've come this far without him. He goes, oh, because he called me son. He goes, son, he's like, I'm just lazy. He goes, I don't want to think about anything. He goes, if Chad says eat that at that time, I eat it at that time. He goes, I just use Chad because I don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about that. If he tells me to do it, I do it. So,